Hey guys, so it is April 7th, Friday, April 7th, and I decided to try to change the view a little bit. Some people were asking about whether I could walk around with a camera like I was doing originally, and frankly, I'm just kind of tired. It's like, well, yes, I guess I could do that, but realistically, I think I just want to have a tripod standing in front of me for a little while. When we go to Thailand, there I shall bring out the monopod again, and we will wander around as I do these vlog things. But here, while we are in the good old US of A, I will just try to find nice little scenery to put behind me. Mainly just like I say, is I'm just doing so much exercise nowadays. I do that hour in the morning and the hour in the afternoon, and I just get kind of tired of exercise. I don't really want to walk for yet another hour. It's, yeah, so anyways, so we came down here. Again, as I talked about before, this is like the acre and a half of my property, like the half of my property that's swampland. So again, one of those random lessons in life that I will tell you guys is that when you go out to buy property, make sure half of your property isn't an unusable swampland. Look, we have 3 acres, and an acre and a half of it is swamp. But hey, oh well, at least I have something nice to put behind me. So as far as the whole exercise routine is going, today I'm down to the 200 mark, so that is a good thing. And just kind of going along. I actually took a rest day today. I woke up in the morning, and I just generally, it wasn't like tired from not eating enough food or anything like that. I was just generally tired. I've been exercising a lot lately. So I woke up this morning, and I was just tired, especially since it was the elliptical day. Like, I really like spinning. Spinning is really fun, but today is kind of elliptical, so I was like, I'm kind of tired for elliptical. And then honestly, you know, it turned into afternoon, and it was like 3 o'clock, and I was gonna go out and do the strength training this afternoon, and then I literally drove out. I was in the car, I had all my stuff on, I was driving out in the neighborhood, and then I was like, you know what, I'm kind of tired. I'm kind of tired, so not a lot of good exercise there, but overall, you know, like I say, things are going well. I feel, you know, after like the 5 or 6 weeks I've been doing this, I definitely feel the muscles, and I feel better athletically overall. But today I was just getting a little tired. You do have to concern yourself that with exercise is it's really easy to get burned out. It's really easy to like hyper focus on going out there and exercising just a ton. And then the problem is if you work out to the point where you're just genuinely tired and then you stop for a day or two, then it's pretty easy to go back. If you work out to the point where you actually start injuring yourself and you start hurting yourself and that kind of thing, that's when you can put yourself out of commission for a week or two, and then things get really bad. So just one of those things to be thinking about. Anybody going out there trying to do the exercise routine like I do, if you're starting to feel tired, if you don't feel, the way that I would say it is, that's why I turned around from the strength training today, is if you walk in and you don't feel like you will have proper form for doing the exercise, that's when you know to stop. Like, if you just know, I'm just not in the mood, I'm just not in the right place today, and I don't feel that when I do these exercises I'm going to have the right form, that's when you know to stop. Because that's really actually where you get hurt. A lot of people think you get hurt from like strain, and you do, I mean, but you get like Advil hurt from strain. Where you get like really screwed up hurt, where you have to like go to the doctor and get surgeries and all that kind of stuff, is basically where you really screw up your form. Because the thing is, if you have the proper form and you're pushing the muscles or pulling the muscles, again, you're going to strain and you're going to hurt. The muscles are going to get painful, but the overall joints and the bones and all that will be okay. The issue that you get into is if you have bad form, you're pushing and pulling against a lot of weight. So if your arms aren't how they're supposed to be, if you're not locked into a good position, that's where something like your joint gets hurt, and that's where you can have problems. So that would be just my little recommendation, my little advice there. But yeah, overall going pretty well. The weather down here in Maryland is nice for today. So it's 51 degrees today, but it was snowing this morning. And apparently it will be snowing tomorrow. So there you go, that's Maryland weather for you. It'll feel very nice to be in Thailand. So if it's the 7th now, we'll be leaving in like 2.5 weeks. So I'm very happy that we'll be leaving in 2.5 weeks for Thailand. We'll go there, it'll be like 90 degrees the entire time we're there. That's very nice. We're sitting there, we're planning everything out now, trying to figure out where to go. Because the issue with Thailand is Thailand's not a big country. by any stretch of the imagination, but it still takes a long time to get from point A to point B. Like, they have beautiful interstates. I guess they're not called interstates because they don't got states, but they have basically freeways, I guess you could say, beautiful, like U.S. quality freeways. But the ironic thing is like when you're on them, like the last time I was there, I was on a bus, and basically like the speed limit for a freeway or interstate was essentially like 25 miles an hour. So the problem is things aren't really that far apart. As far as an American would be concerned, but it can still take you a really long time to get from point A to point B. And that is one of the warnings that I would say for any folks out there that are thinking about traveling to like third world or less developed countries, is don't look at distance and travel time the same way. I remember I was going from, was it Goa to Hampi when I was in India? And that was one of the things, like I looked at the map, and it was like 150 miles or 200 miles, something like that. So I go down to the bus station. It's like, yeah, give me a ticket. Because I figure, what, it's going to be 3-4 hours. Oh, bad roads, maybe it'll be 5 or 6 hours. It was a 13-hour overnight bus. Yeah, because again, 150 miles or 200 miles at 60 or 70 miles an hour is entirely different, an entirely different experience than 200 miles at 25 miles an hour. So that is just one of those warnings for there, because I've done that a couple of times where you just sit there and you look at the roads and you look at the vehicles and you're like, oh, okay, it's not gonna take any time to get from point A to point B, and then you find out it's an overnight bus. And you're like, what? But if I was home, it would like take 2 hours. Damn it, right? I mean, like literally, like that would be the equivalent of like from Baltimore to New York City as an overnight bus. You're like, what? That doesn't make sense. In the U.S., some people commute that distance, like literally. Like that's a funny thing. Like, I mean, think about that. Like in the U.S., I know people that essentially, for some work, will commute all the way from Baltimore to New York City, essentially for a commute. They'll go out on the train in the morning and they'll come back on the train at night. And in some places in the world, that would be like an overnight bus trip. That would be like a 24-hour round trip. It's one of those random things to think about. We're trying to figure out where we're going to be going, looking at all that kind of stuff. So the main topic for the day we're going to talk about is churn, and why you have to think about churn in your life, especially for your professional life and especially for your business. So what is churn? So churn is basically a term for when you organically lose clients or customers. Right? So whenever we talk about dealing with clients or customers, we always talk about customer service. We always talk about basically how do we keep customers? How do we keep customers happy, and how do we keep them forever and ever? Amen. Right? Well, here's the thing. In the real world, a lot of times, no matter what you do, you will have what is called churn. Very good clients, very good customers will leave you after a certain amount of time simply because they do, right? And so again, I talk to you guys about things topically, and so this is an issue that I'm having right now because Spiceworks, my first sponsor, my best sponsor, my longest term sponsor, is no longer my sponsor. Right, so Spiceworks started sponsoring my main channel way back when I had like 90,000 subscribers on Eli the Computer Guy. Like literally, they came to sponsor me before I had even figured out what I could sell as a sponsorship thing. Right, my guy over there called me up on the phone or emailed me or whatever and said, "Hey, we want to sponsor you," and we went back and forth. And basically, it was the good old story where I said, I can sell you sponsorship for this amount of money." And then he responded, I can't write you that small a check. So this is the amount of money that I'm going to give you, and we'll figure out how to make that valuable, right? So that's the type of client and sponsor they were. So we went along, and basically they gave me more money than I wanted in the beginning, and then after that I asked for more money, but then they said no. But then like 3 months later they said, oh, my stats are going up, so and so it's been going back and forth, and we've done like a lot of things. So they've been sponsoring me for a long time. I did the interview things. They actually flew me out to interview their entire like executive staff at one point and put the videos on, and they've just been a very good sponsor over the years. They're one of those sponsors, and this is what you have to be careful about with any kind of money. They're just one of those things that it's kind of like, it's just what happens, right? The sun comes up in the morning and I get a check every 3 months. But the issue is, as with all things, time goes on. So I guess I was a pet project of the person that was dealing with me, and apparently the person that was dealing with me is no longer with the company. right? And so that's the thing, right? So basically, like I say, having them as a sponsor was an absolutely awesome thing, because essentially they gave me banner ads and they gave me links. Like every 2 months or 3 months, they might send me a new banner ad and link, and I would put that on the site, and I would talk about them, and that was it. And then basically I get a check. Right, just very, very easy. And so about a month and a half ago, I tried to start reaching out to my representative over there, the person that I've been dealing with, and then the emails, they didn't get bounced back. It wasn't like this person no longer works for the company. They just kept going into a hole. It's like I would send them and send them and send them, and then I wouldn't get any response. And so finally, I had a link to the accounts payable department, the people that actually write the checks, because I needed a new check because they hadn't paid me. And so I emailed them and said, "Hey, where's my check?" And they said, "Oh, we'll send you out a check." And I said, "Great. But actually more importantly, where the hell is my person? Where the hell is my person?" I've been emailing 5 or 6 times and haven't heard anything. So basically they said, "Well, I forwarded this up the chain of command or whatever. Hopefully they'll get back to you." And so it's been another week. And so basically I was figuring that the whole thing had essentially died. The sponsorship died. And this is what happens every once in a while, right? You have this good thing. It's been going on 3 years. Your best client, the ones that just pay money, and then all of a sudden they disappear. And so I figured it was probably over. I didn't know why. Maybe my person got fired or something like that. But then I got the official email today from, I guess, the person higher up the chain of command that said, "Hey, we have loved working with you. We have loved working with you, but we've looked at the stats and we've looked at what we're currently paying and all that, and we think we want to move in a different direction." And there you go. And that's the thing, when you get emails like that, there's not a lot you can do about it. When I had my representative at Spiceworks, and we did have to do some negotiation way back when, we could actually do negotiation. It was well, the click-throughs or the whatever aren't quite what we want. So if the click-throughs are better, then we'll give you more money. And it's oh, okay. And then I can figure out how to make the click-throughs better. But with this, there is none of that. It's kind of meh, the stats aren't what we'd like to see, and we're going in a new direction, and no hard feelings. We'd like to work with you in the future, but, we don't want to write you any more checks. But this is something that a lot of people don't think about, especially in the business world, right? People are so focused on being right. They're so focused on making sure that the customer is happy or whatever else, that they do the right thing, that one of the things a lot of people don't realize is many times you get fired or you lose clients simply because. And this is something that you should just keep in mind, because a lot of times we get kind of lazy. A lot of times we get a little complacent, like with Spiceworks. I've gotten complacent over the years because the money just goes. But that's the thing, is you get complacent, you get very used to the money, and then one of the questions that you should always be having in your head is, what happens if this client leaves you? What happens if this paycheck goes away? I had this before with one of my clients that I theoretically didn't lose. This is the oh, this one sucked, right? I theoretically did not lose the client, but I in fact lost the client. And here was the thing, right? So I had this one client who ran a business, and it was a great business. It was one of these businesses, they burned through $10,000 a day, right? So when they came to me for work, they basically just paid it, right? If I said something was going to cost $5,000, they didn't even blink. They didn't even question. They were just do it, right? And they were great. They wanted everything. They wanted surveillance systems, and they wanted network cabling, and they wanted websites, and they wanted everything. They wanted, it was 2007 last time I really did it. Well, 2008, whatever. I was just doing all this work for them. They just, anything that you could think of, they were doing. They were the greatest client out there. It was one of those clients, as I talk about with a lot of CEOs, is you should realize that whenever you think about business, you think about business as always being about the bottom line, always being about profit. But what a lot of people forget, especially with people that have built their own business from the ground up, is they look at their business as a form of personal property, the way that they look at their house or the way that they look at their car or something like that. So a lot of times they want to buy technology and they want to have technology installed, not necessarily because it adds to the bottom line, but just simply because it's really fucking cool, right? You know what I'm saying? Like when you're bringing in so much money that $5,000 or $10,000 doesn't matter to you, then spending $5,000 or $10,000 for your company to have something that looks kind of cool and fancy is no big deal. It's like, oh, what, $10,000? I was going to spend that today anyway, fine, whatever. And that was the thing. So I had this client, I'd had them for a long time, they were happy with me, I was happy with them, I installed a lot of crap, they paid me a lot of money, it was absolutely awesome. And it was absolutely awesome all the way up until they sold the business. Right? And so basically, everything was going along fine, and I was told, hey, yeah, so we're going to be selling the business to these people, but don't worry, they still need computer consultants, and you're still good, right? So you'll keep the business as a client. So I kept the business as a client. The problem was the person that then bought the company did not want every computer thing that had ever been created. Right? Basically, this type of person ran the business by return on investment, by profit, right? Did not want to put any more money into that business than was absolutely required. So basically, we go from creating pie in the sky, just insane utopian technology projects to only doing the bare minimum repair work. So we have a client that goes from being really profitable, like just beautifully profitable, to like no profit, to like 5 billable hours per month. And again, it was nothing that we had done. There was nothing here. It's not like the new owner came in and like I pissed him off or anything like that. It's not like there was a negotiation for price. It was simply the new owner came in and said, you know, technology is not our priority by any stretch of the imagination. So basically, we are just going to pay for the basic preventive maintenance, you know, the maintenance type work, and that's it. And so this is something that you guys got to be thinking about. That whole question of what are you worth? Like I hear that so much in the modern world, like what I'm worth. Eli, you got to understand what I'm worth. And it can be very easy to get lulled into the idea of what you're worth. It's very easy to see the checks coming in and have this idea that that means that is theoretically what you're worth. But the question happens is what happens if those particular checks stop? Like literally tomorrow, then what's going to happen when you try to get new clients? And so this is something that you should always be thinking about. You should always be thinking about your plan B. Because what happens with business people, especially professional people, is you simply get complacent, right? There is a point in time when you're building your business or when you're building your career, when you are just gung-ho, you're working 15 hours a day, you're wheeling, you're dealing, you're always trying to figure out how to make things better, right? And you're just going. But hopefully, if you do things properly, at a certain point in time, you should have more than enough money coming in, and then you start to relax. Again, like I say, for me, like with sponsors, I only have a certain number of sponsorship slots open. So once all those sponsorship slots fill, I'm good. I don't need to go out and chase after a lot of sponsors. And so one of the problems that happens is you're really gung-ho, you're working really hard, you're wheeling, dealing, all that, and then you get to a certain place where you're complacent. And then when you're complacent, you stop networking, you stop doing like the social stuff, you stop reaching out, you stop looking for new deals, you stop looking for new opportunities, you stop looking to make things more efficient or better because you're making money, right? And you're worth, right? Obviously, look at the checks you're getting in, look at the checks you're cashing. I'm worth the checks. But what happens then if you lose one client or two clients or three clients or the company simply downsizes or whatever? What happens at that point? Right, like Barnacules. Like Barnacules is pretty open about this, where he worked at Microsoft. And again, you think about like Churn. You talk about the ultimate Churn. He was working at Microsoft. He had been there for like 15 years. He had gotten all these awards. He'd done all these great things. And then when the new CEO came in, they simply decided to get rid of his department. Right? There's not a lot of argument there. Right? This isn't a question of like, Do we keep Bob or do we keep Mike? This was the entire department is gone. Hundreds of people are simply unemployed in the blink of the eye. And so that's one of the questions is like, if you're sitting there in your job and you have out your idea, this is what I'm worth, you know, what would you do if you got fired tomorrow? Something to be thinking about. I heard that one, like one CEO is really hilarious. It was really hilarious. And again, what you have to be worried about is there was a tech company around here, and I was talking to the CEO, and they had a C-level executive. No, I'll leave out who it is, but they had a C-level executive at the company, and this C-level executive had risen up as the company had grown. So basically, they had created the company, they had grown the company. This person had stayed in the spot. And then what was funny is the CEO was laughing because the C-level executive then decided that they were going to quit and find another better job. And then the CEO was laughing, and the reason is he said, what this poor dumbass doesn't understand is we were already overpaying him. And basically what he said is, as the company had grown, obviously everybody's salaries had gone up. And so, you know, since this person had been with the company from the get-go, it was like, okay, well, your salary should be commensurate with everybody else. Even though technically you're not the best person for this job, you have stayed with us a long time. So we'll just make sure you get paid a high amount of money. But then the person got pretty egotistical and full of themselves and said, well, what I'm worth is, and as they walked out the door, the CEO was like, 25% less than we were paying you, actually, but you'll get to figure that out yourself, right? So one of those things to be thinking about. Think about churn in both your business and your professional life, because things happen. You know, again, people get locked into this idea of you just get into this whole thing of status quo. You will get paid, you will get checks, you will have these clients because you had the clients yesterday, because you had the clients before. But, you know, customers come, customers go. And that's the thing, is like a lot of people think about, like with losing customers, you know, maybe the economy is bad, or maybe I provided bad service or something like that. What a lot of people just get blindsided by is that you are just going to lose clients just because. I would argue realistically, like even if you're providing really good service, you should expect to lose your clients about somewhere between 3 to 5 years. And you sit there, oh, well, that's ridiculous, Eli. But no, think about it. You know, every 3 to 5 years, you're going to have shifts in management. 3 to 5 years, the business could go out of business. 3 to 5 years, the business could actually grow to be bigger than what you can support. Or 3 to 5 years, the business could shrink to the point that they don't need the services that you're offering, right? So realistically, I would say, especially if you're going to be in business, even your best client, they should have a shelf life of essentially somewhere between 3 to 5 years, and you should expect that you are going to lose them for some reason. And then you should have a plan for that, right? So if you've got a nice stock, you've got your 10 customers. Eli, all I need is 10 clients. If I've got 10 business clients, that's all I need. You should still be thinking in your head, okay, if I lost 3 of these clients 2 months from now, what would I do next? Because a lot of people are just caught off guard, and then they're screwed. Right? So I'm not screwed. I am sad. I'm sad I lost my Spiceworks. Because that was a nice thing too, is with having Spiceworks be a sponsor for 3 years, like 3 years solid. They were just like a good example of being of sponsoring me working, right? You know, because that's the thing, is like people come to you and they're like, well, why should I sponsor your YouTube channel, Eli? And be like, well, you know Spiceworks. Oh yeah, we know Spiceworks. Well, they've been sponsoring me for 3 years now. They've paid for all this additional stuff. They've been very happy. Oh, really? Okay, yeah, we'll sign a check too. And so that's one of the sad things. You're like, oh, I'm gonna miss Spiceworks. But anyways, Spiceworks is not over. And that's the other thing too, is to think about, like, when you do go through this whole churn thing, is don't burn down bridges. I know, like, when I do these videos or whatever, or when I do normal videos, I come across really snarky, and it seems like I burn down a lot of bridges. Like, so if you watch my videos, and sometimes you see me in the business world, it seems like Eli doesn't care about bridges. He just dynamites every bridge and doesn't care about it. But the one thing that I will tell you is I actually don't dynamite bridges that I care about. or I exceptionally rarely dynamite bridges that I care about. And so that's one of the things to be thinking about too, is remember, like firing somebody or you know, basically firing somebody is a difficult process for everybody involved. So a lot of people look at it from their point of view, like it sucks when I get fired. But also realize from the other person's point of view, it sucks to fire people. Generally, nobody likes to fire somebody else. So one of the things you do have to realize in like the whole negotiation process when you're dealing with churn is trying to figure out if there's something that you can negotiate, or if the relationship is just, this part of the relationship is just over. Right? Because what I see with a lot of people do is they'll run into a thing, like I say, with Spiceworks, moving on, doing other stuff, and then they'll try to like hyper negotiate and try to hyper get it back, be like, okay, what can I do? Can I drop money? Can I do this? Can I do this? Can I do this? Can I do this? And the problem is the person on the other side is like, look, I just need to kill this relationship right now. Right? I just need to end this relationship right now. There's nothing that you can do to save this relationship. And so what happens is people can get like hyper focused and try to save the relationship to the point they then start pissing off the other side. It's kind of like, you know, with a boy-girl relationship, is one person says, hey, I need some space, and then the other one's like, can I get you flowers? Can I get you chocolate? Blah, 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 blah. And then all of a sudden like, I can't handle this, and runs away, right? And so that's one of the problems you can have when you're dealing with this whole churn process. And so when you're going to be losing a client, one of the things you want to look for is there anything that you can negotiate? Again, when the person comes to you and says the stats aren't what I'm looking for, do they say the stats are 25% less than what I was looking for? And then I can go, oh, okay, if we're 25% less than what you're looking for, these are the things I can do. Or are they just kind of like a little cool, like, well, this isn't really what we're looking for anymore. And then you can be like, oh, okay, that's fine. You can have your space, I'll have my space, we can swing back and we can figure out something in the future, if it works for you. Because that is one thing, again, in business, what I have found with sales, like there's a lot of people that try to do like hard selling, you are gonna sign this contract. And especially in the technology world, that sucks, because we really do have to have a relationship with the end person. And so what I found is a soft sell is it's just like, no. When you want to buy, when you are comfortable with buying from me, then by all means, then the door is open. You can just come in and we'll get it all done, right? And I found if you give people like a much more relaxed sales presentation, that it's usually a hell of a lot easier to keep that relationship and to be able to sell things in the future. When they feel like they're in command, when they feel like they're in charge, when they feel like I'm buying this because I want to buy this, it makes everything better. So that would be my thought. I fear it's a short video today. Oh, I've only been talking for 27 minutes. What's going on with Eli? What's going on with you? I used to talk for an hour at a time, and now I'm sitting here at like the half an hour mark going, I think I'm out of stuff today. So yeah, I don't know. It's like the cold weather. Like I feel really good when it gets like nice and warm and sunny, but then with like these fluctuations in weather, we even had the fire today, all right? I went down to like the little wood pile and I brought up a couple more wheelbarrows full of wood because it's supposed to get cold. It's supposed to get it down to the 20s tomorrow. It's supposed to get in the 20s. What the hell is that? Oh, I mean, literally, we went from like t-shirts and shorts and sunburns to like 20 degrees tomorrow. This is wrong. But anyways, with that, I think I will leave you guys for today. But very excited. Only about 2.5 more weeks, I suppose, until we go off to Thailand. And so that'll be exciting. When I go through Thailand, I'll have my little monopod and we can wander around and we can look at all the stuff. Because that'll be a good thing. Thailand is a beautiful country. Thailand is an absolute beautiful place. Again, I've been to a lot of countries. And Thailand, honestly, for your first exotic travel adventure, I would probably put that at the top, to be honest with you. And the reason is because it's rather inexpensive, right? So Europe is amazing. Europe is phenomenal, but it's expensive. It's expensive, right? So that's expensive. Places like India, Sri Lanka, Nepal, I did those. Those are great in their own ways, but they're very poor. Sri Lanka, not as poor, but it can be very hard living there, right? And then like South America and that kind of stuff that I've done. South America is good. Actually, I like Chile was very nice. Chile's nice. I don't know, but I still do Thailand. I think Thailand is probably like if you really want to like get your feet wet with the whole concept of backpacking. I think Thailand is the way to go because they're very nice people. It's very hospitable. It's very inexpensive. It's very warm. It's very nice. It's very easy to travel. Yeah, I'd probably start with Thailand. But anyways, you guys will see that soon. You guys will see that soon as we're trekking through Thailand. Oh, that'll be nice. It'll be weird. It's been a long time since I went to Thailand. It's been 11 years. Can you imagine that? Can you believe that? So I think it's been like 11 years. It's been 11 years. It is so weird to say that. It's so weird to like be of the age where you can think about what you did 20 years ago. Like when you look back 20 years ago and you were an adult 20 years ago, that's such a weird concept. I was thinking about that because I realized, especially for the main Eli the Computer Guy channel, I actually have like travel equipment, and one of my packs very well may be older than some of the people that are watching my tech videos. Because I think that pack was purchased in like 1999, which means that pack is now 17 years old. And again, that's one thing for like young people just to kind of realize, like when they feel like they're getting dismissed or something by older people, is just think about if you had clothing or adventure equipment that is like literally older than kids. I mean, the fact that equipment that I own and will still use is like literally 17 years old, that is a bizarre. It's just kind of a bizarre thought to have, you know what I'm saying? Or maybe it's just me. Even like I say, my pack, because I've got this North Face pack that I'll be taking to Thailand again. And it's so weird. I'll be taking it to Thailand again. That was the pack I took to Thailand. And so that's a 12-year-old pack. And that's just so bizarre to think about. Like I have backpacks that are that old. I guess that's what happens. Time marches on, as I say. But anyways, with that, I'm going to go get inside. I think we're going to have some sushi tonight. It's Friday night, so Friday night is sushi night. I'm going to like having some sushi. So, talk to you guys tomorrow, or Monday, or I don't know, whatever the next time I do one of these videos is. Oh, here, I'll give you a little scenic shot before I go.